#1 in the mornings. King 5 News on Kong starts now.
All right, it is 8:22. Our next guest says office workers waste an amazing 65 hours each year on gossip, yet they also say that the rumor mill is one of the most annoying things about their jobs. Here now to tell us how gossip can hurt the workplace and what you can do about it is Sam Chapman, author of The No Gossip Zone, a no-nonsense guide to a healthy, high-performing work environment. Yet we all know we gossip. We say we don't like to gossip, but we all seem to relish it.
Yes, it's true.
It is pretty pervasive in our, and I think some people think it's actually a right of the workplace to do this. So why would it, I guess my whole question is, why is it so unhealthy if it's just done in reasonable doses? And a lot of people figure it's kind of their communication flow of their business.
Right. Well, I define gossip as something negative that's said outside of the presence of the person you're talking about. So the reason it's harmful is because you're talking smack about someone else and they're not in the room.
Throwing them under the bus, right. Yeah.
And if it's at work, it can affect their ability to pay for their kids' education, the mortgage. You know, you start messing with someone's career, and that's a big deal.
Well, as you say, it is human nature, and you talk about setting up the no gossip zone. But, I mean, how realistic is that? And if you were to set a no gossip zone up, how long would it realistically last in an office place?
Right. Well, a fish rots from the head down, so the boss has to be on board. So if the boss is on board, it can last forever. What we do at my firm, at Empower Public Relations, is we tell on you if you gossip. We say, hey, that's gossip. She isn't in the room, and I invite you to go tell her what you said. And I'm going to do the same thing. So we simply tattle, if you will, and the thought that you're going to have to face the person you've been saying bad things about is enough to do away with it.
Now, you work at a big firm in Chicago, so you can clearly test this out. I'm just wondering, by setting up a no gossip zone, and I'm not promoting this in any way because it obviously can be very damaging and negative, but in a sense, are you alienating yourself or coworkers because they feel like they can't just talk about what's happening within the company?
Maybe, but I felt alienated while there was gossip. I would walk around the office and people would stop talking.
Oh, you're paranoid.
We have an open door policy, and people would be behind closed doors having meetings, and I'm the boss and I didn't know what they were meeting about. It's much better now. We have higher energy in the room, more friendship and camaraderie amongst the employees. So I can tell you that living in a no gossip zone is a relief.
It works, huh?
Yes.
It's a relief. Let's face it, gossip starts very early on the playground. It runs rampant with kids. They're somewhat socialized that way. What can parents do to nip this in the bud early on?
They can be good examples themselves. I think the first thing, if you want to stop gossip, is you have to notice when you do it. So be mindful if you're saying negative things about people who are not around. And once you wring it out of your communication, your kids will follow you. Kids never do what we tell them. They always do what we do.
What do you say to workers that say, well, gossip is a way, though, that we develop relationships often in the workplace. It's a way we commiserate. It's a way we complain and or brainstorm. I guess maybe there's a, I don't want to say there's a positive way to gossip, but I think some people actually view it that way.
They do view it that way, and they're wrong. I mean, to me, Jägermeister shots and dropping F-bombs are things we do after work to be friends together, but you would never do them at the office. So gossip is just one of those unprofitable behaviors. I also believe, because I've heard from a lot of clergy, that a lot of congregations have this problem inside our homes of worship. Also at schools, gossip equals bullying and rumors, and it can really make it hard for a student to be present. So if teachers create no gossip zones, if priests and rabbis create no gossip zones, it's up to the leader of these communities to say, hey, this is like cursing. This is like taking the Lord's name in vain. Let's put this on the radar screen of how to treat each other better.
All right. And so basically you're saying no gossip is good, from what you were saying. I mean, it's not good in the workplace. So if you're going to set up one of these zones and businesses are looking at this, what other guides do you have to put this in place, to get everybody on board, and again, so it lasts more than a week?
Right. So you start with yourself, wring gossip out of your communication, then approach your boss and tell your boss what you've been up to, and ask your boss to join in leading this effort. If the boss isn't interested, then you can only take care of yourself. If the boss is interested, then you can go all the way with this policy.
You think it's going to catch on in the workplace?
I do. I think it is already catching on. And I feel like it's important to point out that we're not talking about public figures here. We can still talk about Britney Spears, or in my hometown, Rod Blagojevich. We love to talk about him. So all of those things are on the table. It's just talking about each other that's not okay.
All right. Sam, appreciate you coming in. Very interesting premise here. The book is The No Gossip Zone, and we'll try not to talk behind Sam behind his back once he is gone. Throw him under the bus. But interesting, and that this is going on here in many businesses, as we know, and that there's an effort underway to stop it. All right, good enough. Joyce?
I'd love to see signs saying no gossip zone up at schools and all around. It'd be great.